stop for a moment and put a name in your head. Someone you have never been able to work out. He is pleasant to you. He says the right things. And something underneath it has never lined up. Hold that name. Do not let go of it. Before this video ends, you will know exactly what that man wants from you. You have carried him around for years without a single word for what you sense. That is the part nobody ever fixed in you. Your instinct has been working perfectly the entire time. You just have no language to put around it. And a feeling you cannot name is a feeling you cannot act on. So you override it. You tell yourself you are being unfair. You give the benefit of the doubt because that is what you were raised to do. And months later you find out you were right on the first day. That gap has cost you more than any bad investment ever will. It cost you the partner who was never going to pay you fairly, the employer who was already planning your replacement, the friend who was collecting your secrets rather than keeping them. Every one of them showed you, early in the first conversation, they were not hiding. Nobody is hiding. Men broadcast at full volume every hour of every day, and they cannot stop because the parts that leak are the parts they do not know they are transmitting. You were never taught the frequency. You were taught something else instead. Be polite. Wait your turn. Take a man at his word. Assume good intentions until proven otherwise. That training made you pleasant company. It also made you the easiest person in the room to take from. So be clear about what tonight is. Not a trick. Not a parlor game about crossed arms and darting eyes. The men selling that are selling entertainment to people who want to feel clever at dinner parties. Tonight, you get the frequency. You will learn to sit across from any man and know, inside 2 minutes, what he fears, what he wants, and what he does the second pressure arrives. Not a guess. Not a feeling you cannot defend. A reading you can point to. Machiavelli did not study men out of curiosity. He studied them because in Florence, a bad reading of a man got you exiled, imprisoned, or killed. He watched princes, mercenaries, priests, and traitors for years, and he arrived at a conclusion that still makes people uncomfortable 5 centuries later. Men are readable, reliably, almost mechanically, not because they are stupid, because they are human, and human beings leak. This carries a cost, and I would rather name it now than let you discover it later. Once you can read men, you cannot switch it off. You will sit at a family table and see the resentment underneath a compliment. You will hear a friend congratulate you and catch the half second of silence that came first. Some of what you find will hurt. Most of it will make you wealthy. So decide now whether you want to keep the comfort of not knowing. Everything after this sentence takes it from you permanently. Now the sentence that will cost you the most illusions. Words are the only part of a man he controls. That is why you have been reading people wrong your entire life. You have been staring at the one channel he guards, while every unguarded channel screams the answer at you. A man rehearses his words. He edits them. He performs them. He has spent 30 years learning which sentences make him look competent, generous, and safe. By adulthood, his speech is a finished product, polished, sold. But nobody rehearses what he repeats. Nobody rehearses what he laughs at. Nobody rehearses a name he never says out loud. Those are the leaks. And leaks do not lie. Machiavelli understood something the moralists of his time hated him for. He said you should judge a man by his conduct rather than his declarations, because declarations cost nothing and conduct costs everything. Every prince claimed to be merciful. Very few were. The claim was free. The mercy was expensive. Nothing about this has changed. The costume changed. The mechanism did not. Now understand why this matters more than any other skill you could learn about money. Every serious transaction in your life will pass through another human being. Your salary, your partnership, your investors, your clients, your rent, your exit. Not one of these is decided by a machine. Each one is decided by a person with fears, appetites, and a private ledger of what he thinks he deserves. The man who can read that ledger sets the price. The man who cannot pays it. I want you to sit with something uncomfortable. Think about the last time you were badly wronged in a deal or a relationship. Now think back to the first meeting. Go slowly. Somewhere in that first hour, the truth was on the table. He told you. He always tells you. Maybe he complained about the last person who worked with him. Maybe he explained, unprompted, how honest he was. Maybe he told a story where he was the only reasonable man in the room. You heard it. You filed it under conversation. It was never conversation. It was a confession, delivered casually, because he assumed you were not listening. Most people are not listening. That is the entire advantage. So let me give you the frame that governs everything that follows. You are not looking for lies. Lies are hard to catch and mostly irrelevant. You are looking for pressure points. What does this man protect? What does this man want badly enough to break his own rules for? Find those two answers and you can predict him for years. Fear tells you what he will run from. Desire tells you what he will run toward. Between those two forces sits every decision he will ever make, including the ones he has not made yet. The lessons that follow are the instruments. Learn them in order. Use them quietly. And never, under any circumstance, tell a man you are reading him. Lesson 1. What a man repeats is what he fears. Listen for the sentence he says twice, not the sentence he says loudly, the one that returns. A man circles his wound the way a dog circles a sore leg. He cannot leave it alone. He will mention 3 separate times in an hour that he built everything himself. He is not informing you. He is arguing with someone who is not in the room. Probably a father. Probably a man who told him he would amount to nothing. Now you know his fear. He is afraid of being seen as small. That fear will govern him. He will overpay for status. He will reject good advice that arrives in the wrong tone. He will destroy a profitable arrangement to avoid looking like the junior partner. Another man repeats that he is fair, over and over. Fair, fair, fair. Ask yourself why fairness sits so close to the surface of his mind. Something happened. Either he was cheated badly, or he cheated someone and never resolved it. Watch him for 2 more minutes, and you will learn which. Repetition is confession. The subject a man returns to without prompting is a subject that owns him, so use it deliberately. Stay quiet longer than feels comfortable. Say less than you want to. Let the silence pull his repetitions out into the open. Most people fill silence with their most rehearsed material first, then their real material second. The rehearsed material tells you who he wants to be. The second wave tells you who he is. Count the returns. 3 returns to the same theme in one conversation is not a coincidence. It is a map. Lesson 2. A man mocks what he envies. Watch what he laughs at, not with warmth, with that thin, dismissive edge. He mocks men who post their success online. He mocks people who chase money. He mocks a rival's new car, a colleague's promotion, a stranger's ambition. Mockery of that kind is envy wearing a costume. Genuine indifference is silent. When a man truly does not care about something, he does not have material prepared about it. He has nothing to say. He changes the subject because it bores him. The mocker is not bored. He is invested. He has thought about that thing far more than he wants you to know. Men resent most bitterly the fortune they believe was owed to them and withheld. Machiavelli built entire chapters on that single observation. The insult is the evidence of the appetite. So when a man sneers at wealth, understand what you're looking at. He wants it. He has failed at it. Or he was too afraid to try. Now he protects his self-image by declaring the prize worthless. This is enormously useful. You have just found the exact lever that moves him. Offer that man a path to the thing he mocks and watch how quickly the sneer dissolves. Not because he is a hypocrite, because he was never indifferent to begin with. And apply this to yourself before you apply it to anyone else. Will you mock? Which kind of success makes you reach for a joke instead of question? Answer honestly and you will find something you buried. Lesson 3. Study the man he never mentions. Every man has an absence in his story. He will tell you about his mentor, his business, his ex-partner, his childhood, his rise. Then you will notice a hole. A brother who never comes up. A former partner who disappears from the timeline. A year that gets skipped without explanation. Silence of that kind is deliberate, even when it is unconscious. People do not omit neutral things. Neutral things get mentioned in passing and forgotten. Omission requires effort. Effort means a material carries weight. Sometimes the absence is shame. Sometimes it is a betrayal he has not forgiven. Sometimes it is a person who knows a version of him. He has retired. You do not need to know which one yet. You only need to know the hole exists. Mark it. Then, later, when trust is built and the conversation runs long, mention the gap lightly. Do not interrogate. Drop a small stone into the well and listen for the sound. The reaction will teach you more than any answer would. Watch how fast he redirects. Watch whether his voice changes register. Watch whether he suddenly needs to check the time. The strategist never fills these gaps with imagination. Imagination is how people end up wrong and confident. He collects the observation, sets aside, and waits for the second data point. Every man has a chapter he has removed from the book. Find the missing page numbers. Lesson 4. Watch him lose something small. Victory reveals nothing. Every man behaves well when he is winning. Loss is where the real material lies. You do not need to wait for a catastrophe. Small losses work better, because a man defends himself against large ones. He knows a crisis is a test. He performs during a crisis. He does not perform when the restaurant loses his reservation. He does not perform when a junior employee makes a minor mistake. He does not perform when a flight is delayed by an hour. Watch him there. Does he go cold and quiet? Does he look for someone to blame in the first 3 seconds? Does he apologize to the staff for the inconvenience he is causing them? While causing it, the man who humiliates a waiter over a wrong order will humiliate you over a wrong invoice. He is showing you his ceiling for pressure, and the number is low. The man who absorbs a small loss without commentary has practiced something. He has a system for irritation. He will have a system for disaster. Every ruler gets tested by fortune eventually, and the differences between them stay invisible until the weather turns. That was Machiavelli's argument about kingdoms. It works just as well on a delayed train. Before you sign anything with a man, engineer a small inconvenience and observe him inside it. Change a meeting time at short notice. Be slightly unclear about a minor detail. You are not being cruel. You are collecting the single most predictive piece of information available about your future with him. Everyone is calm in good weather. You are by his behavior in bad weather. Lesson 5. The first thing he establishes is the thing he fears you doubt. Pay attention to the opening move. In the first 2 minutes of any meeting, a man will plant a flag. He will find a way to tell you something about himself that nobody asked about. He mentions a university. He mentions the size of his team. He mentions how busy his week has been. He mentions the name of someone important he spoke to yesterday. That flag is not vanity. It is defense. He is establishing the thing he suspects you will not grant him on your own. Credibility, status, importance, seriousness. Whatever he leads with is a quality he feels least secure about. A genuinely powerful man rarely opens with his power. He does not have to. He assumes it is already understood. And if it is not, he is content to let you discover it later. The insecure man cannot risk that delay. He front loads. I have watched a man open a meeting by mentioning his revenue figures. Unprompted. That single sentence told me his business was under strain, because a man with comfortable numbers does not lead with numbers. 6 months later, that turned out to be exactly true. So run the opening move through this filter every time. Whatever he establishes first, invert it. That is the region where he feels weakest. And then apply the mirror. What do you establish first? What do you tell strangers about yourself before they ask? That answer is your own leak. Find it and close it. Lesson 6. Ask a question, then count the silence. Most people ask questions to be polite. The strategist asks questions to measure. Ask something specific. Not aggressive, but specific. How did that partnership actually end? What made you leave the last firm? What went wrong on that project? Then stop talking. Watch the pause before the answer arrives. An honest answer comes at conversational speed, because the man is retrieving a memory. Retrieval is fast. He is reading something already written. A constructed answer takes longer, because he is doing 3 jobs at once. He is remembering the truth, deciding how much it to release, and assembling a version that protects him. That extra work costs time, usually a beat, sometimes 2. You will also hear the tell that follows the pause. A small laugh, a repeat of your own question back to you, a phrase like, "That's a good question." All of these by processing time. None of them prove dishonesty. They prove effort. Effort proves stakes. Now go one level deeper. After his answer, stay silent for 4 seconds. For seconds feels like an eternity to a man who has just said something incomplete. In most cases, he will fill it, and the material he adds without being asked is the most valuable material in the conversation. Nobody adds a comfortable truth to a silence. They add the thing they were worried you noticed. The interrogator asks more questions. The strategist asks fewer, then waits. Lesson 7. Watch what he does with credit. Bring up a shared success, and watch where he sends the credit. One man absorbs it. Listen to his pronouns. I runs through every sentence like a spine. The team vanishes. The client becomes a footnote in a story about it. Another names people, specific contributions, no ceremony attached. He is not performing generosity. He is describing what happened, and what happened involved other human beings. Then you get the third kind, and he takes practice to spot. In public he is lavish. He praises everyone by name at volume, in front of the people who matter. Later, privately, he corrects a record. That man knows generosity is currency, and he is spending it on purpose. He is not your enemy. He is a professional, and you should price him accordingly. Credit behavior predicts partnership behavior almost perfectly. A man who cannot share applause will never share equity. A man who edits contributors out of a story will edit you out of the next one. Machiavelli watched this destroy commanders. The ruler who claimed every victory alone bred quiet resentment in the men who actually won it. That resentment always cost more than the glory was worth. He was writing about armies. Read it as a warning about your future business partner. Now run the test backward. Watch how he handles blame. Put a failure on the table that involves several people and see where he sets the weight down. The man who takes credit alone and spreads blame wide has already told you everything. Do not sign with him. Do not lend to him. Build nothing with him you cannot walk away from by Friday. Lesson 8. Watch him hear another man's success. This is the fastest character test in existence, and it takes under 5 seconds. Mention casually that a mutual acquaintance is doing well, a promotion, a sale, a win of some kind. Then watch his face before he speaks. A gap sits between the reaction a man has and the reaction he selects. Half a second, often less. It is honest, because it fires before his manners arrive to clean it up. If the first movement is warmth, you are dealing with a man who does not measure his life against others. Rare, valuable, keep him close. If the first movement is a flicker of something tight around the eyes, followed by a delayed compliment, you have found a competitor. Not an enemy, a competitor. He will help you until the moment your success reflects on his own position. If he immediately explains the success away, you have found something else. Luck, he says, timing, connections, the market. That man has a theory of the world in which achievement is never earned, and he needs that theory to survive his own biography. Never build with him. He cannot celebrate you. A man who cannot celebrate you cannot serve you either. And the first time you rise, he starts working against you quietly. Test this 3 times before you conclude anything. 1 reaction is a mood. 3 reactions are a pattern. Lesson 9. Study his relationship with time. A man's calendar is his true value system, not his stated priorities. His actual allocation. Start with punctuality, but read it correctly. Chronic lateness is not always disrespect. Sometimes it is chaos. Sometimes it is a man who cannot say no and has therefore promised his day to 11 different people. That man is not malicious. He is unreliable, which is often worse in partnership. Then watch how he treats the end of a meeting. Does he create urgency to leave, or does he let the conversation run? Where a man protects his time tells you what competes for it. Then listen to how far ahead he talks. One man measures his life in weeks, another in quarters. A third talks casually about where he wants to be in 15 years. It costs him no effort. He has been living inside that horizon for years already. However far his language reaches, that is how far strategy reaches. The 2 numbers are always the same number. A man who cannot tell you where he intends to be in 5 years is not being modest. He is admitting he has no map. He will react to whatever walks through the door, and reactive men make expensive partners because their decisions belong to circumstance instead of intention. One signal here cuts deeper than the rest. Watch what he does with time that costs him nothing. The gap between appointments, the hour on a train, the evening after the work is finished. That unspent time reveals him more accurately than his working hours ever will. Working hours are enforced by consequence. Empty hours are chosen. Ask him what he did last Sunday. Listen closely. The answer is a summary of his character. Lesson 10. Give him a small authority. Power does not corrupt in the way people believe. Power reveals. You do not need to give a man command of an army. You need to give him something small. Control of a schedule. Authority over one decision. The ability to say no to a minor request. Then step back and watch. The competent man carries it lightly. He uses it for the job it was given for, and he puts it down when the job ends. He never mentions it again. You will meet fewer of these than you expect. The insecure man expands it inside a week. New rules appear. Access has to be requested now. Somebody gave him a door, and he has appointed himself guardian of the entire corridor. He has just shown you what he would do with real power, and it costs you nothing to find out. Machiavelli saw this in every court he studied. The minor official with fragment of authority ruled more harshly than the prince who held all of it. The prince felt secure. The clerk never did. Fear is what turns power cruel, not power itself. The third reaction is the quietest, and most people misread it entirely. He refuses the authority. He hands it back, asks permission he already has, checks him before every step. Read that carefully. It is not humility. He is building distance between himself and blame. He will do the same thing at scale. When the difficult decision arrives, he will find a way to make it belong to someone else. And in a crisis, a partner who can not own a decision is a partner who is already gone. Give small power early. It is the cheapest information you will ever buy. Lesson 11. The unprompted denial. Some sentences arrive without a question attached to them. I'm not the kind of person who holds grudges. Money has never really motivated me. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Nobody asked. That is the entire point. An unprompted denial is a man answering an accusation he is carrying inside himself. He has heard it before, perhaps many times, and he now issues a rebuttal preemptively to whoever walks into the room. The mechanism is simple enough to hold in one hand. Men do not defend territory that has never been attacked. If he tells you he is honest before honesty is relevant, someone has questioned his honesty, possibly with good reason. Possibly he questions it himself. You will hear this constantly once you know the shape of it. Listen for the sentence that answers a question nobody asked, and mark it. I sat across from a man once who told me 3 separate times in 1 hour that he was a man of his word. Nobody had questioned it. Nobody in that room had touched his character. I signed nothing that day. A colleague of mine signed everything. 14 months later, I watched him sit in a lawyer's office with his hands shaking, repeating that he never saw it coming. He saw it 3 times before the coffee arrived. He heard a man defending something under no attack, and he decided it was charm. One variation is worth learning by heart. The pre-excuse. Before a project begins, he explains why it might not work. Before a meeting, he mentions how tired he is. Before a commitment, he lists the circumstances that could interfere. He is building the exit in advance. He has already decided, somewhere below conscious thought, that he may not deliver, and he is establishing the alibi while it is still cheap. The man who begins with reasons will end with excuses. Every time. Contrast this with the man who says nothing to start and then delivers. He did not need an alibi because he did not plan to fail. Collect unprompted denials the way a lawyer collects admissions. They will save you years. Lesson 12. Watch where his attention goes when money enters the room. Money changes the temperature of conversation, and every man reacts to that change differently. Put a number on the table, a price, a figure, a cost, then say nothing and watch his face rearrange itself. The builder gets sharper. He wants structure, terms, timing. He is opening the machine to see how it works, which is precisely what he should be doing. The overextended man gets quiet, not silent, but withdrawn by a degree or two. He has started calculating, and he has decided to do it where you cannot see. A man conceals his position when his position is weaker than he has been implying. The third one lights up. His voice climbs. He talks faster. Within a minute, he is no longer describing the money in front of him. He is describing what it could become. Be careful with him. He is not lying to you. His relationship with money runs on feeling instead of arithmetic, and feeling has bankrupted more men than fraud ever has. One detail almost nobody watches. The bill. The moment a bill arrives at a table, the social contract briefly collapses, and every man improvises. Watch him. Does he reach immediately or wait to see if he needs to? Does he calculate visibly? Does he insist too loudly, performing generosity for an audience? Half of Machiavelli's method lives in moments exactly like this one. A man guards decisions he considers important. The small ones he leaves lying in the open, unwatched, honest. A bill is a small transaction. It is also a finished portrait. And I will tell you something that took me years to accept. The way a man treats a small amount of money is exactly the way he will treat a large amount. The number changes. The character does not. Lesson 13, the favor test. Ask him for something small. Not a loan, not a serious commitment. Something minor. An introduction, a recommendation. 20 minutes of his time on a subject he knows. 3 things will be revealed at once, and the whole test costs you 1 sentence. First, how he takes the asking. A few men are openly pleased to be useful, and you can see it land on their face. Others tighten, as though a request is the opening move of an extraction. That tightening means he has been used before, or that he uses people himself and assumes everyone else does too. Second, whether he actually delivers. Most men say yes. Fewer follow through. The gap between those 2 numbers is the most honest measurement of a man available to you. Third, and this is the one that matters most, watch what he does afterward. Does he mention it again? Does he refer back to the favor, casually, in a way that reminds you of the debt? Does the ledger stay open? A man who keeps a favor alive in conversation is a man who does not give. He lends. And everything he ever does for you will be recorded, priced, and eventually collected with interest. The man who forgets he helped you is the man to build with. He gave without creating an obligation, which means his generosity was real rather than strategic. Now reverse the test on yourself, because this is where it becomes uncomfortable. When you help someone, do you remember it? Do you find yourself mentioning it later? Be honest. If the answer is yes, you've been lending your whole life while calling it giving, and the people around you felt the weight of that ledger. You never had to say a word. Lesson 14. Listen to how he speaks about absent men. A man will tell you exactly how he intends to treat you. He will do it while talking about someone else. Bring up a third party, a former colleague, a competitor, someone who is not in the room and cannot respond. Then listen to how the sentence is built. The careful man goes after the decision and leaves the person alone. He will tell you the deal was badly structured. He will not tell you the other man is a fool. He knows the absent cannot answer, and that knowledge sits inside every sentence he chooses. The other kind takes the man apart entirely. Competence, motives, private life, all of it delivered smooth and easy like a weather report. He is not describing that man to you. He is showing you procedure. What you are watching is the exact treatment waiting for you on the day your interests stop matching his. Same tone, same ease, different name. The version that fools intelligent people is quieter. The compliment with a blade inside it. He's brilliant, honestly. A little unstable, but brilliant. Great guy. Terrible with money, but a great guy. The praise exists to license the damage. It creates the appearance of fairness while delivering the wound, and it lets him claim he never said anything unkind. Machiavelli knew reputations are rarely killed by enemies. An enemy's attack gets discounted by everyone who hears it. A friend's small concession gets believed. Most men who do this have no idea they are doing it, which makes them no less expensive to stand near. One more layer, and it matters more than everything above it. Watch for the man who hands you somebody else's secret in the first hour of knowing you. They believe they are building intimacy. They are actually running a demonstration. A man who trades another man's private information for your warmth has established his price, and it is low. He will trade yours next, not out of cruelty, out of habit. So give the early confider nothing. Be pleasant, be useful, be interested. Volunteer nothing that would cost you if it moved. The absent man in the conversation is not a distraction from your assessment. He is the assessment. Lesson 15. The man he becomes around someone powerful. This is a final observation, and it is the one that closes every case. Watch a man twice. Once when he is with someone below him, and once when he is with someone above him. If he is the same man in both rooms, you have found something rare, and you should protect the relationship. If he expands with subordinates and shrinks with superiors, you have found a follower. He will be loyal, right up until stronger authority tells him otherwise. If he is warm with the powerful and cold with the powerless, you have found the most common creature in professional life. He does not see people. He sees positions. And the day your position weakens, his warmth will move somewhere else, without malice and without hesitation. Men who attach themselves to your fortune instead of to you will leave at the precise moment you need them. Machiavelli said it plainly, and nobody wanted to hear it. They were never with you. They were with your advantage. The waiter test remains the fastest version of this. So there's a receptionist, the driver, the junior employee whose name he has not learned in 2 years. Watch him with people who can do nothing for him. That is where his real self lies, because he does not consider that room worth performing in. And this last part is the one that will sharpen you the most. Everything I have described in this doctrine is being applied to you as well, not by everyone, by the few who learned it. They have noticed what you repeat. They have noticed what you mock. They have counted your silences. So become deliberately quiet. Say less than you know. Establish nothing in the first 2 minutes. Let the other man fill the space, because the man who fills the space is always the man who pays. The strategist reads and is not read. 3 objections arrive every time this doctrine is taught. Each deserves a direct answer. The first sounds like this. Is this not manipulation? No. Manipulation is engineering a false belief inside another man's mind. Reading is collecting what he has already published about himself. He broadcasts it. You listen carefully. A doctor who recognizes a symptom is not manipulating the patient. He is competent. What you do with the diagnosis determines your morality, not the diagnosis itself. You can use this to avoid a fraudulent partner. You can use this to identify a loyal one. You can use this to price your work correctly for the first time in your life. The second objection sounds like this. Will this not make me cynical and cold? It makes most people warmer, and I will explain why. Cynicism comes from being surprised repeatedly. The man who cannot read others lives in a world of ambushes, and after enough ambushes, he decides that everyone is a threat. That is where bitterness is manufactured. The man who reads accurately stops being ambushed. He knows which people are safe, and he can relax completely with them, because his trust is now built on evidence rather than hope. Precision produces calm. Blindness produces suspicion. The third objection sounds like this. What if I read someone wrong? You will, frequently at first. So build the discipline that prevents damage. Never conclude from a single signal. 1 late arrival is traffic. 3 late arrivals are a statement. 1 mocking comment is a mood. A pattern of mocking comments is a character. Collect 3 observations before you decide anything, and hold every conclusion loosely enough to revise it. The amateur reads a man once and locks the verdict. The strategist keeps the file open for years. Go back to the name you put in your head at the start. Run him through tonight. What does he repeat? What does he mock? Who is missing from his stories? What did he establish about himself before anyone asked? You already have the answer. You have had it for years. What you were missing was the language, and you were never paranoid for a single day of it. Now you have the words. Look at what actually changed here. You did not learn tricks. Tricks are for people who want to feel clever. You learn where to point your attention, and attention is the only real advantage that has ever existed. Everyone else in your industry hears the words. You will hear the repetitions, the omissions, the pauses, the unprompted denials. Same room, same conversation. 2 completely different amounts of information. That gap will pay you for the rest of your life. Start small. Choose 1 lesson from tonight, and use only that one for a week. Count the repetitions, or watch the first 2 minutes, or ask a question and hold the silence. One instrument mastered beats 15 half-remembered. And carry one warning with you. Never announce what you see. The moment a man learns you can read him, he begins constructing a version of himself for your benefit, and your access closes permanently. Let him believe you are not paying attention. Let him talk. Let him fill the silence. The most dangerous man in any room is the one who appears least interested. If this video shifted the way you see people, don't just scroll past it. Like this video, drop a comment telling me which strategy hit you the hardest, and subscribe, because every video on this channel is built to sharpen your mind and separate you from the crowd that stays comfortable. No fluff, no noise, just doctrine. Most people don't lose this game. They just never played it.